Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Yeager, and thanks again for listening to my weekly podcast. The flu. I can't think of a happier time in my life than sitting on the couch like a stump, blowing my nose and slurping some canned chicken concoction while I pop pseudoephedrine tabs and anxiously wait for my flu to be over. If you're an inquiring mind like I am, you may wonder, can I give the flu to my dog? Interesting question. I'm so glad you asked. To answer this question, we first need to talk a little bit about the influenza virus. I promise not to bore you. To begin, viruses are extremely simple entities. They're essentially genetic material encased by a protein-containing capsule. The genetic material they possess can either be DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, or RNA, ribonucleic acid. Most influenza viruses contain RNA, and RNA is like the messy kid brother of DNA. It's very prone to making errors during replication and not cleaning up after itself, making RNA viruses more likely to mutate than DNA viruses. And there are a few types of flu viruses out there. There exists an A form, which typically infect animals, and a B and C form, which tend to infect humans. However, not all flu viruses follow these constraints. It's their creepy ability to mutate that leaves them open to jumping species. This is how the swine influenza, the H1N1, became infectious to humans, initially reported back in 2009. Swine influenza is just an example of one of a few of these rebellious rule breakers out there, which ironically tend to be type A influenza viruses. Not exactly fitting, is it? Well, nonetheless, infectious disease scientists around the world keep close tabs on these guys, and rightly so. They are responsible for annual epidemics and the occasional pandemic, such as H1N1, which killed an estimate upwards of 500,000 people globally in 2009, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. So, in essence, flu viruses are tricky. Sometimes they obey the rules, and sometimes they don't. But, usually under normal circumstances, the chance of passing your human flu virus to your cuddle buddy is quite low. Canines cannot normally catch our influenza type B and C viruses we suffer from seasonally each year. However, there is always the exception with the rebellious influenza A viruses. According to a March 2010 article in the Journal of Emerging Infectious Diseases, a cat was diagnosed with H1N1 in 2009 that presumably caught it from the owner. Since then, a handful of domestic animals, including dogs, cats, and ferrets, were diagnosed with H1N1 that all supposedly contracted the illness from their ill owners. However alarming this may be, these were isolated cases and certainly not reflective of the norm. So is it possible? Yes, but it's not likely. This flu season, don't spend too much time tossing and turning over the fear of giving your dog the flu this season. Instead, focus on getting yourself well, and remember to get your yearly flu shot. Just as a reminder, this content is strictly for informational purposes only. It does not replace advice or judgment by your local veterinarian. Please see a licensed veterinarian in your area for all veterinary-related issues. Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a healthy week, and be sure to give your four-legged friend a big hug for me.